What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Average Joe Investor channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how you can always win when you sell options, even when you lose. Now that sounds a little bit confusing or maybe even misleading, but I promise you I'm going to explain it fully. Okay, so probably most of you are aware that when you're selling options, the odds are in your favor. Just as if you were at a casino and you were gambling against the house. The house, as they say, always wins. When it comes to selling options, you win if the market does what you expect it to do. You also win if the market does nothing at all. And you win even if the market goes a little bit against you. In fact, the only reason you would lose selling options is if the market does the exact opposite of what you expect. But even then, you can avoid losing. Just like politicians do all the time here in America, they kick the can down the road. And you can do the same thing when it comes to selling options. But trust me, it's far less sinister. What we're specifically talking about in this video is the ability to roll your option contract. Now, before we go any further, let's define that term. What does it mean to roll a contract? What that means is simultaneously closing your existing position for a cost and opening a new position for which you will receive option premium. Here's an example of rolling your contract. Your existing contract is right here, and then the new contract that you are selling is right here. This is the cost to close your existing contract. This is the cost to open your new contract. Now, when it comes to rolling your option contracts, one of three situations is going to occur. Number one, the options contract you are trying to close, the one you already have, the cost to close your existing contract will be lower than the value of the new contract you're opening. And in that situation, you would be receiving a net credit, meaning you're getting more money than the cost of your existing option. On the flip side, if the existing contract value is higher than the value of the new contract you are selling, then that would be a net debit, meaning you have to pay money to roll your contract out to a future date. And in certain situations, there might be exactly the same value, in which case it would be even. And in that situation, you might pay a little bit or receive just a little bit of a credit in order to roll that contract. So like I said, in this example, the value of the existing contract is lower than the new contract I'm looking to open. So in this situation, I would receive a net credit of approximately 23 cents per share or $23 per contract. Here's an example of where a net debit would come into play. In this situation, I currently have this contract right here, and the value of it is about 10 cents per share or $10. Now, if I wanted to roll my contract out to Tuesday, the 30th, at a higher strike price, 204, the value of that contract is lower. So if I wanted to make this trade, this rolled option contract, in this situation, the difference between them is about 7 cents, and this would be a net debit, meaning I have to pay 7 cents per share or $7 per contract in order to roll my contract from what it is now out to the following day at a higher strike price. So why would you actually do this? What is the value in rolling your contract? Besides just simply adding two transactions together into one and simplifying that, why is there value in doing this as an option seller? Let's take a look at a covered call example and a cash secured put example where you can manage risk, avoid assignment, and allow yourself more time to win with your contract. Let's first take a look at an example of a covered call. So let's explore a scenario where we have previously sold a covered call and we are now in the money and we're looking to roll our option contract out to avoid getting assigned on our contract. So let's assume that we'll assume this is the market price right up here. And let's also assume that the contract that we had sold, we're going to assume that this is expiring today, okay, April 29th. Let's assume our contract is this one right here at 198. So we're in the money by about 36 cents per share. And the value of our contract is about $114 or $114 a share. And we don't want to get assigned. We would rather roll our contract out and allow ourselves more time for the price to work in our favor. So instead of expiring today, we'll just assume today is the 29th. And let's assume that we're looking here at the 30th, which is the following day, and we're looking for a way for us to roll our contract out, either for ideally a net credit, meaning we get paid to do this, or at worst, a net debit where we're paying a little bit of money ourselves, but we're avoiding assignment. So in this situation, if we were looking to roll for a net credit, we might come out here to the 30th and find a value that's higher than 114. So perhaps right here at 198 again. So in this situation, we're not looking to change our strike price. we are looking to extend and allow ourselves more time. So in this situation, if we did not change our strike price, we stuck with 198 per share as our strike price. So if you take 152, the value of the contract we're selling, and we subtract out the value of the contract we're buying back, 114, it'd be a net credit of approximately $38 to allow yourself more time to see if that price of IWM will move in our favor. However, you don't always have to roll for a net credit. You might be willing to roll for a debit to make sure that you can move up in your strike price. So let's assume that we still have that 198 strike price right here with a value of 114. But instead of sticking with the 198 strike price, you could roll to the 199 right here, which is a higher strike price, and it has a value of between $97 and $100 per contract. So in this situation, if we pull our calculator back up, we'd have a situation where the cost to buy would be approximately 114, and the value of the new contract we're receiving premium for is, we'll call that 98, means it's a net debit for us, meaning we are paying $16 for the opportunity to move our contract out to tomorrow and raise our strike price from 198 to 199, which makes it a little bit less likely that our contract will be in jeopardy of being assigned tomorrow. And you can do this potentially over multiple days. Now you might be thinking to yourself, why would I pay a net debit when I could pay a net credit? You have to remember the change in the capital value as well. So remember, at 198, you have an obligation to sell your shares at 198 per share, which would be 100 shares times 198 would be $19,800. And so let's just assume here, remember with our first example, we were not rolling our strike price, sticking with 198 and receiving a net credit of approximately $38. So in this situation, plus $38 for us, no change in the strike price. But in this situation, the one we're looking at right now, we have a change in our strike price. And remember, there's a net debit of $16, but remember that because we're moving our strike price up from 198 to 199, there's inherent value in that change. From 198 to 199 is $1, times 100 shares is $100. So if you take minus 16 and plus 100, then the true net change in the value is actually $84 as opposed to what we were looking at before, which was only $38. Now, it doesn't feel that good because you're still paying some money out right now, and we don't know what the future holds. The market could challenge us again tomorrow, but for now, we are increasing the overall value of that contract and that obligation by taking the net debit as opposed to the net credit. Now let's take the same look at a cash secured put that is threatening us and our ability to roll in that scenario. Let's assume here that we had the 199 strike right here expiring, and we're assuming it expired today. We know that today is not the 29th. So in this situation, if we do nothing here, we're likely to get assigned because if our cash secured put is 199, the price is below 199. So we're going to get assigned if we do nothing because that contract is also worth about, we'll call it $99 right here. And in this situation, if we wanted to instead avoid assignment and roll our contract out to the next day, we have a few options. We've got 199 now, so then tomorrow, if we did no change to the strike price, we stuck with 199 tomorrow, that would be right here. So the value of this contract is $134. We've got $134, subtracting the cost of the existing one, which is, we'll call that 99, means we have a net credit here of $35 and no change to our strike price. But how does that compare to rolling for a debit in this specific scenario? So instead of 199, let's assume we were wanting to go down to 198, which gets us out of the money right here. So in this situation, the value of the new contract is lower than the one we're trying to buy back, which means it's going to result in a net debit. So we'll take negative 99, and then we'll add in we'll call that 88. So the net debit here is $11, but again, we're moving our strike price further away from the market price by $100. So if you take minus 11 plus 100, that's a net here of $89, which is higher than the other first scenario we just looked at. So there is a lot of value in rolling our contract, even if at times we have to do so for a net debit, because it changes our overall obligation by a much more significant amount. And again, you can do this over multiple days as needed. As an option seller, you have options. pun intended here. You have the ability to roll for a credit or roll for a debit. You have the ability to take assignment if you want to do that. But the point is, you have options, you have flexibility here. Just like the casino always wins in the long term, as an option seller, the odds are in your favor, and you have additional tools in your tool belt to manage your position when things don't go according to plan. This can be a little bit confusing, I completely understand, and the good news for you is you have a few options available to learn more in this topic. You can join the Average Joe Investor Patreon community and the Discord chat where you get access to hundreds of other investors who add a ton of value to the community. Or if you want more one-on-one access to me to work through some issues, some concerns, some questions, and really ensure comprehensive learning, you can join a different tier of the Average Joe Investor Patreon community. There's the exclusive and the VIP access, which give you one-on-one time with me. If you want to learn more, check out the link down in the description below. Make sure to leave your 2 cents down in the comments below. It's my goal to respond to as many comments as possible on the day I post a new video. That's all I got for you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching.